find that drive, find that passion, find whatever that fire is for you to, wake up one day and say,
welcome back to another episode of Finally Motivated. Today we have Joshua Haynes as our special guest, and I'm very excited to have Josh here because he is a good friend of mine, and he embodies the perfect mix of not only creative expression, and he's an artist, but he's also a scientist. He loves to, he's an expert when it comes to science.
Science nerd.
Science stuff. But he's been a part of my journey for quite some time, and I'm very excited for our conversation today. So thank you for coming on, Josh.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me, for being a guest. Happy to be here. It's a beautiful place. If you are interested in doing an interview, I highly recommend coming and, seeing the place and supporting, because it's good. It's beautiful.
I appreciate that. I really do, especially coming from you, because you know your stuff.
I try. I like gadgets and tech, so I really go down the rabbit hole of watching tech videos and figuring out what's the best bang for the buck and getting the best out of it. So
yeah.
I'm really into that tech world stuff too.
So you're into tech, you're into photography, you're into videography,
mm-hmm.
You're into all these things, and why?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started with tech at church while I was in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I was raised mostly. And it started with just, standing behind a video camera, doing live streaming, working on a soundboard. And that really gave me the sense of responsibility, making sure that, you don't break the expensive equipment, making sure that you know how to properly use the radio transmitters to make sure if you're live, you're live, and they know that, you're not going to do anything crazy with the camera. And that really started my love for that. And then when I went to college, I ended up getting a camera through my parents, actually. They were like, if you get good grades, then we'll buy you your DSLR. And I was like, all right, great, say less. And that was probably my highest GPA for that semester, because I'm very driven by task and goals. And that was a good goal for me. I was like, all right, this is good. Not only grades, but, you get something that you actually want. That's an incentive. So yeah, I ended up getting that. And my wife, who was Fatima, I'm sure a lot of people already know, she had a camera. She had a Nikon then, and she loved taking nature pictures. And since I was more of the videographer / taking pictures of people or just doing videos of individuals, that I kind of convinced her to merge the two so that we could kind of make some type of business out of it. But that's a long way around my background with tech. But honestly, the purpose, since I love tech so much, I had to find a reason to purchase new tech when new things come out, while also still finding value in providing a product that people see value in and are willing to pay for.
Yeah, so you can't resist utilizing cutting edge, and be if you know that something good exists. Does it frustrate you to do something less than the best?
So it used to, but right now for me, it's more of, you don't have to have the best gear. You don't have to have the best tech. You don't have to, have the biggest, deepest pockets to make value or a product of value for someone else to watch and see and get something out of it.
Yeah.
So it's really just knowing what your current state is. Mm-hmm. What are you okay with, pros and cons, and, using what you have without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if there's a reason where, there is a need and I could get something that's better, then of course I would want that. But right now I don't need the best and greatest for anything to, continue doing, making stuff.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you are motivated by certain types of goals, and being able to see a reward for doing a certain task. Can you describe a time where this was evident in entrepreneurship for you?
Mm.
Like, what do your goals typically look like?
Yeah. So for me, well, I have different categories of goals. I have self-development. I have personal wellness and, life, well-being. I also have, career goals. Then I have the entrepreneur goals. But I like to categorize it and compartmentalize it to a way that makes sense to me, so that I could control what I can control. I can only control what I can control,
Yeah.
and being okay with that. If it's meant to be, it will be, and I'm okay with that. Only if I put everything I have into something, so that at the end of the day, I'm not looking back and say I have a regret because I knew I didn't give it 120%.
Yeah.
So if I knew I gave it my all and I have no regrets, then why am I mad? Why am I upset at the end result? You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I try to make goals that are tangible, still challenging, have some breakthrough goals, but I like to jot things down and check it off. So routines, reminders do help, but also being present and knowing the current state I'm at and focusing on whatever task or priorities that I have as a whole.
Mm.
So it's a balance. It's very hard, but for me, I like to stay in motion, but being very strategic in what I'm putting my time and energy on.
Yeah, that actually does sound very hard.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself creating goals consistently in the sense of are they usually more structured, or do you how do you make space for the chaos?
Yeah, so it's buffer. So I'll give you another example. For me, there was a time where I wasn't as fit or as healthy as I could be, right? It happens. You get into the swing of things, you're, figuring out, you move, you're working, you're trying to hustle. So, your health can go down, it just happens. So for me, I took it upon myself to make a goal that challenges me to work towards that goal so that I have something to look forward to. So I started running. That was the only reason why I started running. I never ran before. I never enjoyed running before. I never had a goal to run long, longevity. But I told myself, hey, if I have a goal, since I know I'm very goal oriented, I will have to work my way up towards that goal to actually accomplish that goal. So my first goal was to do a half marathon, the New York half marathon. And that's something you can't just wake up one day. Well, some people can if they're fit. They can wake up one day and say, I want to run a half marathon, and actually do it without having a severe injury. But that's not me. So I had to have a consistent plan, weekly plan, monthly plan to make sure I'm hitting the miles. I'm having my recovery days. I'm also doing long runs on the weekends so that I could actually meet that goal. And that's what really got me into running. Doesn't mean I enjoy running. That's still debatable. But I see the benefits of having a goal, having an incentive, and still being fit.
Yeah.
So for me, first the goal was to do the half marathon. Then my next goal that year was to do a full marathon. And I ended up doing it, which is good. But I also realized that I shouldn't be making a goal just for a single event. See what I mean? So I don't want to have to always have an official race to actually train and run or be fit or be active. So then for this year, my goal was to be consistent, show up for myself. I don't have to always have an official race to register for, even though I do have one, but just be consistent and show up every day as much as I can. Knowing good and well that some days you can't run, you can't exercise because, chaos happens and, that's just part of life. But being able to bounce back and not allow it to be a new habit or a pattern is really how you get up and, show up the next day.
Yeah. So do you find any patterns to create sustainable goals? So the reason why I ask is you don't like running. I remember when I was in high school, I did track and cross country, and I hate running.
Mm-hmm.
But what kept me doing it was the social element.
Ah.
I didn't do it for the running. I did it so that I could be in part of a team. And I love the feeling of belonging to something and having people that I can grow with and talk to. And so for you, have you noticed any patterns when you create a goal and it includes things that you don't want to do, but you still do it?
Yeah.
We can even go back to that. Okay, go ahead.
It's part of that zooming out, looking at the big picture. So sense of community, there is a big community in the running community. Running the full marathon in New York City was very evident for me that, you know, this is bigger than just running. You have all the boroughs literally cheering you on, giving you, you know, bananas, giving you whatever you could think of just because you're doing something that they're proud of and they just want to support. And I would encourage anyone, if they ever wanted to feel that type of community, to just try a half marathon. Work towards it, and you'll see that, wow, this is pretty epic. Especially for me, that was, to get a bib, you have to have a certain amount of money raised. If you're going through like a leukemia society, which is the society I do when I run. So the money goes straight to that cause, which is even more of a community because it's very purposeful. Yeah. So you're running for something, you know, cancer research, and that gives you more of a sense of belonging. But yeah, I mean, community is everywhere as long as you find it. And just because you don't enjoy something at the beginning part of it doesn't mean that you won't enjoy it in the long term. So you have to keep an open mind and just give it a shot. Yeah. And that's the same thing in entrepreneur. Find that drive, find that passion, find whatever that fire is for you to, you know, wake up one day and say, I want it. We don't have all the answers, but we'll ask enough questions to get to an answer. Yeah. So
you have a hypothesis.
Exactly. And you're going to test it and trial and error. And, you know, that's part of life.
Yeah. And so with entrepreneurship, is that something, when you were younger, did you look at the world differently than you do now? And what has changed in terms of possibilities and what may be out there for you business-wise? How has that grown or changed for you?
Yeah, so when I was raised, I only had pretty much a couple options of what my career path would have been. Being in a Caribbean household, they always say doctor, lawyer. But really, my family just said,
was safe for me.
Yeah. And it's common because, you know, that's what they look up to, which is, it's no disrespect, but, you know, you do have other options. And that's what's really changed for me. Figuring out that I don't have to please anybody, honestly. If I'm doing honest living, I'm making honest money, I'm happy with where I'm at, the right career will find me. And that's been part of my journey to make sure, like, when I do speak to undergraduate students or high school students giving back, I like to tell them that, you know, there's other options if you're a scientist or if you're a biology degree or if you're an engineer degree. There's other path for you to make good money without being the doctor, without being the lawyer, without being the NASA scientist, you know? So keeping an open mind, understanding that it's okay to change your mind at times, as part of life, and trusting the process that, you know, as long as you're showing up for yourself, you're putting everything that you have to actually find a solution or find an answer or find what really works for you and what you enjoy doing, it will come. But you have to be proactive about it.
Yeah. I like that you are very authentically yourself and you recognized that, you know what, I don't have to please anyone. If I'm making an honest living and I'm doing this, I'm going to do it. If I want to create this logo for this new company, because I remember you were showing me one.
Yeah,
like, this is great.
There's a lot of logos.
And you're going to do it.
Yeah. And I can say the same thing about you. Like, you have a lot of ideas and you do execute them. And then if they stick and they work great, then great. But if they don't, you know when to pivot. And that's part of being an entrepreneur. Having a goal, having a common idea and figuring out where my skills fit and align with my passions and how can I be a resource and asset to somebody else is really the key to success.
Yeah. What are some of the things that bring you joy, that just stands out to you?
Nature. I like traveling. I like family time. I like going to different places with my wife, exploring new things together.
You guys are definitely explorers.
Yeah, we explore a lot, and that's fun because it's easy to just be confined by the four walls in your home and think, life is great. But when you're actually out there, when you actually, feel super small in a world that's so big, when you see the scenery around you and you just see nothing but miles and miles of, mountains or water, and, it really challenges you to think bigger. And it really challenges you to say, I want to go travel some more. I want to explore the world. Why should I not explore the world? And why should I, not have these moments? Because, life is short, but you got to live your life to the fullest. Not recklessly, but live your life to the fullest where, if something were to happen, if you got ill immediately, yes, tomorrow, can you say, I'm glad I had this experience. I'm glad I went to this trip. I'm glad I explored. I'm glad I did everything I can in my power to, travel, enjoy, have moments of joy and laughter versus always thinking about saving or always thinking about, the next big thing for you in that journey.
Wow. I think that was very beautifully put. I know you guys really love adventures, and we've been on a few ourselves with you.
We should have more too. Yeah.
So it's very true. Him and his wife, they are very, very adventurous, and you both take the most out of life as much as you can. Yeah. And when you describe being able to see the landscape and then recognizing how small that you are, you're able to see how large you can think. Mm-hmm. And does that help you sort of reset, check in with yourself?
100%. It tells you that you're limitless. It also tells you that it quickly reminds me specifically of where my focuses are and what I really value the most.
What matters.
Right. Like, am I looking at my work phone? Am I checking emails? Like, no. Like, at the end of the day, I do my job. I get paid. I'm happy. I provide, I provide an expertise that is necessary for, sustaining the company as well as life. And that's good and all, and I enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, what I really value as a person, what are my, morals? What are those things that really bring happiness and joy? Going back to your question, is things that aren't with a price. You can't put a price point on that.
Yeah. So you mentioned the adventures, and I'm glad that we branched into that. But you were going to say some more.
Yeah. So let's see. I personally like to document the adventures because looking back, time goes quick, right? So that was part of the reason why we started doing our vlogs when we did go on adventures, because, a picture says 1,000 words, but if you're watching a video, that really brings you back to that specific moment. Like, you remember, what the conversations were, had, what was the weather? Yeah. What were some of the things that we were actually experiencing at that specific time? Yes, a picture can help, but really documenting it and archiving it and having it so that it's something that you can look back to is really impactful. And it brings you back to those moments, the good moments. So yeah, that's mainly why we started doing the vlogs, and we still record it, but we haven't posted. But it's really for us. So like at the end of the day, if people don't want to watch it, I'm okay with that. But it brings value to us. So it's really so that we can look back and have a central location to be able to access something and look at it and relive those emotions.
I like that. I think you also touched on a point that I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to understand as well, which is, or just consider, the things that you do it for yourself in a way, because it fulfills, it gives you a sense of fulfillment or joy. It adds to you in some way, and a great benefit is also it can provide value to others.
Mm-hmm.
And I've realized that the things that I've stuck with longest are things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm not just doing it for other people.
Yeah.
Because you get worn out.
Easily. Yeah. And that's part of any job, honestly. Entrepreneurship or not. Like, even if you're the best videographer or the best photographer, if you have multiple gigs back to back and you're not able to put time into your family, if you value family, your job is going to end up feeling like a job. So knowing your end goal is very important. Like, how much success do you really desire? How much time do you really want to have being available for your family? Having those hard conversations with yourself so that you're not just providing, value to other people, but you still are present in your personal life and your family, and you still have happiness. Because it's going to be a job no matter what. Yeah. You just have to make boundaries, healthy boundaries, so that you're showing up the best way you can show up for your family, your life, and things that you value the most, as well as providing that value to other people.
For sure. When you fill your cup, you can fill the cups of others.
Right, and knowing when to say no.
Yeah, because you can't say yes to everything.
You could do it, but just because you could do it well doesn't mean you have to say yes.
Yeah. So, Josh, you are a multi-passionate, entrepreneurial individual, and you're also a scientist. And do you ever find that your passion for so many different things feels like a curse or a blessing, a gift?
I feel like, for me, it's not a curse because I find ways to leverage it. If you could leverage what you're good at, what you're trained to do, and find solutions for problems that you know how to solve by providing more service, then it's a gift. Yeah. If you feel like you're boxed and trapped with your only, what you're actually doing, getting paid to do, and you can't find a way to use your other skills and be appreciated for it, then maybe that's a sign for you to explore other options so that you could provide more value than just what people look to you for. Mm-hmm. So you have to market yourself. You have to find a problem, find a solution, and find a happy merge so that you're not trapped in just one thing, but you could still focus on the job that you're actually getting paid to do, but finding value that fills your cup as well as provides value to the company as a whole.
I like that. There was a time where I used to think that my multiple focuses on the different passions that I have was a curse because I love music. I love making music. I also love doing graphic design. I really, really love coming up with different ideas. Like, someone comes up with a business idea, I can take it and strategize a whole plan.
That's
and
a skill.
Create the image for it, all of that.
Yeah.
But I also love technology, and I'm good at it, and all this stuff. And there was a time where I said to myself, I wish I could just focus on one thing. And then I gained the realization that all of those things that I've explored allow me to be a more complete person in my eyes, a more well-rounded individual that allows me to do the next thing that I focus on that much better.
Yeah.
So as a coach, being able to, because I pivoted so many times, instead of looking at it as a curse, I looked at it as I've actually built up a muscle and worked on the art of pivoting.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at it like, I can't make up my mind.
Yeah.
You could look at it that way, but being able to, because I've delved deep into music production, now I have fun creating the theme song for this episode or for this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's something that I enjoy. And I think a lot of us, we need to understand the things that we enjoy and see how you can integrate it as opposed to pushing it away and just thinking to yourself, no, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
But it's also who you are.
Yeah.
How can you try to make it fit? Some things shouldn't go together really, but maybe just explore it.
Yeah. And that's a good way you put that, because a lot of times when people get degrees, you can have them as many degrees as you want. They think that the only thing I could do with my degree is what is the most common thing to do with it. So being innovative enough to, break those boundaries, really push yourself, challenge yourself to have your degree. Yes. Use your degree. Yes. Don't just do a degree because you could do it without having a plan to use it. Don't get me wrong. But realizing that my degree does not define me. I have a different background. You have a different background. We have different skills. We have different passions. Figuring out the best way to leverage your background, your skills, your passion to, make you happy and provide value is really important.
Yeah. How do you do that? How have you done that?
I'm still learning. I mean, realizing, you have to be humble too. Like you can't be that one guy who knows all the answers in the room and, has always constructive criticism. You have to provide value, but you have to be able to compliment people and tell them, hey, I really like what you're doing, especially if you don't lie to them. So if it's something that you see that is really good and they're doing good effort, you have to be able to, give that critique, give that, pat on the back, say, really work, good job. Because you have to be a team player. At the end of the day, you also need to have a team behind you. If you don't have a team behind you, you're just a one-man show, and guess what? Your yield has decreased significantly. You want to increase your yield no matter what. So you have to mentor, you have to inspire the team. You have to find people who are good at certain things and have them in your circle. You have to really maximize the skills that you have in the room by having a common goal for everybody, making it relatable and personal for everybody so that it's not just you that is driven by the goal. So it's something that, really gets them going, and leaning on experts, because you can't be an expert in everything either. So it's a fine balance. But having people to actually keep you in check also is very important, because, you're going to make mistakes and you have to own your mistakes. Like, if you don't own a mistake, if you make a mistake and you don't own it and you start backpedaling, that's a big red flag for me. It's hard to recover. Yeah. So if you make a mistake, that's fine. We're human, but own it and make that a lesson so that in the future, you're not making that same mistake.
Yeah, I like that. So Josh, what is something that you're really looking forward to?
Personally, I'm looking forward to, let's see, keeping it in the context of this.
No, it doesn't have to be.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward
as a person.
I'm looking forward to growing more, being a better family person. I'm looking forward to continuing to challenge myself so that I'm the best person showing up every day. So it's a constant evolution of checking in with myself first so that I could check in with those around me and my family and my wife. So having those check-ins and having a sense of growth is what I'm looking forward to, because I don't ever want to be in a place where I feel like I've made it. Because once you feel that way, then chances are you're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I think you're great how you are.
Thank you. I appreciate
but
that.
I also respect your hustle and you respect your thirst for growth. I love to surround myself with individuals who continue to prioritize growth.
Yeah.
Because I want to grow with you.
Yeah, same here. And you inspire me as well, because I mean, not everybody is creative.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone has big goals that, you know, if someone outside looking in like, oh, you're not going to do that. Oh, you can't do that. What are you doing? Like, not everyone really has those goals that really push you and stretch you to, you know, want to do better, want to figure it out, and not be afraid to take that leap of faith. And, you know, having people like that is good to have in your circle, especially if you're a creative like myself, because, you know, iron sharpens iron. And if you have negative people in your circle, then yeah, of course you're not going to do
out.
Right. Half the things you have in your list of goals or tasks is probably not going to happen because they want you to be just like them. So yeah.
So I think if you can find a friend like Josh, get one, keep him around.
Oh, that's high praise right there.
No, but you know, when I started this, this motivational coaching business for entrepreneurs, you were one of the early people that I told it to, you and your wife. And then you guys came down to the office.
Yeah, we saw it.
And I never felt like I was an idiot for doing it.
Yeah. No, it's a good plan. It's a good business model, and you're really good at, you know, perfecting it and coaching. And, you know, you talked about it earlier, your different passions, and, you know, that's all experience. That's all that allows you to have that common knowledge that may not be so common to the average person. You know, those are experiences that you can relate to, that you can lean on. Those are things that aren't taught in classrooms that people need to be successful. And having someone like Peekins who has walked there before and, you know, has those experiences will be very beneficial to you, especially if you're trying to grow quicker than the average, you know, time that it might take you.
I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. I'm very grateful for all of the so-called failures that I've experienced throughout my life, because they all do matter. And I am very glad that we did this. This has been a very great conversation.
I agree.
When we shut the camera off and the microphone, I know we're going to continue to have deep conversations that I wish we recorded.
Yeah.
So that
next
just means
time,
we
maybe
have to come next time.
There you go.
How can people find you?
So we do photography in the DMV area as well as New York and Atlanta, because I still have roots in Atlanta. But yeah, we started as wedding photographers. Now we're pivoting to more of corporate events, headshots. So if you're interested in that, you can find us at JF Haynes, Haynes, at Instagram. You can also find us on, I'm sure the link would be posted for the website as well.
I'll add that.
And then you can request a quote, and then we can get in contact with you for a consultation if that's of interest. We still do weddings, but we do more couples, portraits, or engagement shoots if that's what you're interested in doing as well.
And they are amazing. We've used them for at least a few things. Yeah. And one of them was a maternity shoot, and it was beautiful. Yeah. It looked like a fantasy. We were just in a park.
I mean, you guys showed up. You dressed the part, and that's half the battle right there. You know, looking the part, and then making it easy for us to capture the love.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend looking into their services. It's amazing when you find someone that has integrity and they love to do it for the art of it. And Josh and his wife Fatima are those individuals. So if you're looking for that, look no further. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, thanks
on the show,
again.
Josh.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you as well.
All right.
Until next time.
Until next time.